Everyone wants to build a team that's going to influence outcomes and make better results for our organization. Leaders are driving this. Individual contributors want this for their own careers and success stories. But what is the most optimal way to structure a team in talent acquisition today? Well, this is what we've got coming up in this episode, and here is a little snippet that you can expect.
So it's all about adding value. It's about being bold enough to advise and to call out some potential mistakes. Like, I would rather try to do strategic planning rather than just rely on luck, basically, right? And you have to be able to also confirm your point of view utilizing data and visualizing it really well, making it easy to understand. Because, it's good just purely theorizing about something, but unless you have data, it's just not a serious conversation. By asking follow-up question, digging deeper into certain niche, or just asking an open question, okay, tell me, what do you know about this market for this particular skill set? What are the challenges? You would then see, does this vendor add some value, or it's just basically a repetition of what you already kind of know. If you're really specializing in certain niche, and I was able to, chat GPT it in 3 seconds and get exactly the bullet points, as I say, the same output. So maybe not what I'm looking for.
Now, I am an external recruiter. I think everyone listening probably knows this by now, and I'm not advocating by any means for a 100% external involvement. Actually, the complete opposite. I think you can do the majority of roles without external vendors, RPOs, and this is kind of precisely what the conversation focuses around. When to use someone like us, how to use someone like us. And it's not my words, it's Mykhailo's words, and it's his drive of saying, look, this is how we've structured teams in his careers and past companies, and this is where it's worked and how it might work for you. I really hope you enjoy this conversation. There is a lot to take away from it and some fantastic examples of where external and internal can meet, collaborate, and influence for the success of a company. Thank you so much for listening. Welcome to Tea Time with Talent Acquisition, the podcast aimed at fostering knowledge and sharing stories within the vibrant talent acquisition community. I'm your host, Eden, and for the next hour or so, I'm going to be joined by an experienced tech recruiter and TA leader who's enjoyed a career working alongside some of Berlin's most well-known and loved brands, from Auto One and OLX through to his current team. With expertise spanning both the in-house and RPO recruitment, he brings a unique perspective on how talent teams can be structured that not only drives hiring processes, but also fosters an organic, adaptable workflow, no matter if your team is 100% in-house or a blend of vendor support. I'm excited to peel back and hear firsthand how his decisions can be made that lead to better outcomes for a business that include a dynamic hiring team to achieve this. So when you're ready, grab your favorite tea or coffee if you prefer, and join me in welcoming today's guest, Mykhailo, the team lead of global tech recruitment with the team at Flix. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Eden, for the invitation. Good to be here.
I appreciate it. Look, before we dive into the core topic of today, which is, structuring your TA team, I do like to kind of just understand a little bit more about, our core topic as we go through the podcast is what do you feel makes a high-performing recruitment team? And I feel like there's some of the answers you might give here might lead into the rest of the podcast, which is fine. Mm-hmm. But just from your perspective, like a high-level overview, what constitutes a high-performing recruitment team to you?
To me, the main idea is actually to become talent advisors rather than someone who is just serving the business, right? And to do that, of course, you have to be in a position to share your expertise. So you have to kind of have a seat at the table. And of course, sharing valuable inputs, right? Whenever the C-level folks see that you are able to actually steer them and show them the direction, they would appreciate it and go back to your advice like on the ongoing basis rather than just one time. So that's the main one for sure. And overall, it's about building horizontal and vertical connections within the organization. So ideally, becoming really embedded part of tech organization in my current experience.
Okay. So it's pushing yourself, not just, hey, I'm a recruiter, this is I'm delivering, but it's advising, and then it's also being able to network and collaborate, closely with all parts of a business, and that helps drive a successful recruitment team to you.
Yeah, exactly. So first of all, you should have a deep understanding of the business, how it works in general, right? And how those teams are interconnected within the organization, not necessarily only tech side, but also, how do we make profit? What does it take? And that's the foundation, actually. It then helps, of course, to speak the same language the stakeholders are speaking, to understand them really deeper, and being in the same boat, playing for the same team. The buzzword is recruitment is a team sport, but it really is, right? It really is. But to really align and to make everyone working as a team, it takes an effort, and it takes some work done from the TA side, especially from the leadership.
So with this obviously episode that I purposely called it influence, I put influence, so building talent teams that can influence, right? And the reason I've done that is ultimately the conversation leading up to this, you and we've spoken a few times, and you use that phrase influence, and I think it's quite a powerful word. So when you talk about creating a team that can influence, what do you actually mean by that?
So it's all about adding value. It's about being bold enough to advise and to call out some potential mistakes. Like, as an example, you are getting a very hard to find unicorn profile. You just know you are out there. You are talking to those candidates. It's really, really hard to find a skill set. It might work out, but it would be rather a lucky punch other than a strategy. And I would rather try to do strategic planning rather than just rely on luck, basically, right? And you have to be able to also confirm your point of view utilizing data and visualizing it really well, making it easy to understand. Because it's good just purely theorizing about something, but unless you have data, it's just not a serious conversation. Especially when we are dealing with C-level folks or just tech stakeholders in general. People are speaking the numbers language, data language, and you have to adjust.
Okay. So it's been able to come to the conversation, support your argument, whether for or against something happening, and utilizing data. And that's the influence part that you're looking at. Is there, and we're talking about the team structure, right? And I mentioned at the beginning, a little bit around being 100% in-house or having kind of a mix between vendor support and in-house. From your experience leading various teams, is there an optimal team structure that you feel blends quite well in? Let's quote kind of the companies that you've worked with.
Depends. So we are in a current macroeconomic cycle is leading me towards a sort of mixture between core in-house team and also whether RPO agency solutions. So it's super important to have expertise in-house. But also, I think that you should be in position, you should have some flexibility to actually onboard and offboard additional resources easily without, let's be honest, legal hassles, without reputational hassles, and just, in a speedy manner. So in dynamic environment. Whenever the hiring need increases suddenly, all right, you should be able to go there on the market and select 1-2 vendors that could do a job for you. Your in-house team should be in position to onboard them properly. That's the ideal setup. For me now, because of flexibility, because of costs as well.
So you mentioned there when obviously hiring ramps up. Is there any other parameters that you're reviewing as a leader to say, okay, maybe we might need to leverage some external support here, or actually let's
Yeah.
remove them for a period of time and focus purely on in-house? What are the levers that you're looking at to determine when to scale up, scale down?
Yeah, absolutely. So it comes down to their demand, actually, to the hiring demand, and knowing your team well. So you know the strengths of your team, you know where they are able to deliver fast and with a good quality, and you also know the gaps, right? So whenever we have a gap, I would then sit down and decide do we go and talk to niche vendors who are able to deliver us that niche skill set from the market, or do we actually have time to upscale the team a little bit? And yes, compromising on the speed, but then we are actually building this like muscle within the team, and like in 3 months time from now, we are becoming very knowledgeable about additional area. As well as we are having relevant pipeline, relevant talent pool available already in-house, not relying on the vendor.
So you're specifically looking at, when you talk about gap, you're looking at what skills are going to be hiring for, and do we have experience or exposure as a team hiring that skill set? If not, the trade-offs. Do we need to hire it yesterday from the hiring manager perspective, maybe go to an agency or to an RPO?
Yeah.
And if not, then can we utilize the time to ramp up the team internally?
Yes, and I always try to, on top of that, I always try to connect the need, the business driver to the internal team motivations. That's like looking for the win-win scenario. So basically having ongoing and in-depth conversation with individual contributors. As a leader, you would know what drives them, what they would like to understand better, maybe try in another area, and that could be actually a potential winning situation to assign, say, new area to a particular individual contributor. So basically taking the team into account, not only like delivering blindly, but also growing the team ideally.
So pull it back to kind of have an influence then, how does structuring your team between like this mixture of in-house and vendor support, how does that actually drive influence into your processes?
Yeah, so it's kind of combination of both in-house expertise and expertise from external vendors. And what I find good in this setup is that we can really leverage what we are doing the best. So say in-house team could be able, even up to the point of giving tips, all right, so stakeholder management with this area of the organization works like that. Here are a couple of actionable tips. And external vendor could be able to incorporate it into their strategy, like delivering shortlists or whatever, schedule interviews, depends. While they are bringing their niche knowledges, and they could also ideally teach my core team. So how do I achieve it? Is basically fostering knowledge exchange sessions, starting even from as easy as inviting vendors to the team weeklies. So basically, I think that we are also responsible of setting them up for success within the organization. by sharing the information that we know. Of course, to the point where it's not getting like sensitive organizational information, but whenever we can share to make them more productive, we should, I think, and that's what I would ask from them as well. And typically, it's like it's working out quite well, and people are opening up, not immediately, of course, but after a couple of sessions.
So you're embedding them into a team as if, and RPO I think usually is kind of more embedded anyway, but even the external
Yeah.
partners, you're embedding them and treating them as if they are an employee or an extension to your team at Flix, and then for the period of time that you're here, this is
Yeah.
how we're going to work together.
Yeah, it's an open, like, fair conversation. I mean, as long as you are here, we are super happy to welcome you to the team. You are really an embedded part, say, and extension to our team. But when the time comes, I mean, well, it's the nature of the vendor's work, right? So, but even if so, we never know when a new hiring demand pops up in the future. Might be in 3 months, might be next year. And we have already invested in good relationships. We saw that, say, it's working out, so why not working with the same vendor again, especially when the core team is like still there, say, and they already sometimes even missing people from the vendor sides, and typically happy to work together again.
I love that approach. I genuinely do, because I think that I've done this now for nearly 12 years as an external partner, and I've seen a whole variety of processes where I get a job description. I don't even get that sometimes. I get like a line and say, go find this. Okay, well, there's a little bit of a follow-up to do there. But then you get the extent of, and I'll take your example, and I've had it more recently as well with one of the teams I work with in Berlin, who, I get everything. I get onboarded to the system. I'm on Slack channels. We're on Slack with everyone now because it just makes life 10 times easier. You become part of the team, and that's how it should be. And I've just literally had it last week where I hired with a company, I think it was 3 years ago now. I haven't hired with them since. I've just kept in touch. You keep in touch, keep them warm. And they messaged me and said, we're hiring again. Would like to work with you again. I'm like, there you go. But that is exactly because we onboarded with them. We had the process with them, and you just stay there. I love the fact, but most teams don't necessarily do it like that. So I want to dive into that a little bit more, but I am curious because when we talk about vendors, and I want to stress, I didn't push you into this topic, and I know it feels weird because I'm the external and I'm, saying, hey, come work with externals and partners. It's not that. I do genuinely believe 99% of the time you don't need a partner. You can do it all in-house, and it's just that 1% of the time that you need someone. You need to get you out of a sticky situation, a particular skill set, skill in, high demand, whatever, right? So, how do you go about choosing vendors when we all say the same shit? But let's be honest, we all lean on companies, we all lean on referrals, we all say we do the same thing. Proof for us is in the pudding, as it were. I'm quite happy to say we work hard, but give us a try and then you'll see for yourself. But how do you go about when you've got loads of inbound pitches, probably got 3, 4, 5, a minimum a day, I'd imagine. So how are you kind of saying, let's go give them a try?
Well, previous experience, if it worked in other setup, I would try to map it and adjust it to the current environment and try and understand whether it's going to work out or not. Well, references from the network, of course, play some role in there. But also talking to them, going to some, introductory call and asking additional questions. I mean, PowerPoint is nice to see, of course, but then, it's more resembling to what you have mentioned. They all kind of look alike, basically. But then by asking follow-up questions, digging deeper into certain niche, or just asking an open question, okay, tell me, what do you know about this market for this particular skill set? What are the challenges? You would then see, does this vendor add some value, or it's just basically a repetition of what you already kind of know. That would be not maybe a red flag, but an orange flag. like if you are really specializing in certain niche, and I was able to chat GPT it in 3 seconds and get exactly
Same
the
answer.
bullet points, the same output. So yeah, maybe not what I'm looking for. Then I could really ask my team to work on this position rather than paying additional money. And also there is no lack of vendors, right? So what I'm trying to do is always agreeing on very flexible terms of offboarding. If it doesn't work out, it shouldn't be 3 months lockdown for me that I'm still keep paying with a gardening leave or whatever we call it. It should be really flexible, and vendors should be like sure enough that they can deliver, and then it's not a problem at all. If it's like two weeks of notice, it's also a good sign to me.
So you're willing to take the conversations to learn about these people, and you've got kind of your own follow-up questions. But you're digging into, do they actually know what they're talking about? Do they have the expertise that we really need to plug that gap, or are they just giving me lip service, essentially?
Exactly. And also, it depends on the need again. So there are two main strategies that I could think of. It's either giving a niche search to the vendor, or big volume, extremely big volume, so that I wouldn't burn my team out, almost a call center kind of thing, with like 15 calls per day, 10 calls per day. I would rather prefer they are focusing also on some more strategic work, improving the processes. It's also very important part for me. So people would feel the impact not only by filling the positions, but also doing something more for broader HR organization.
Okay. You hit the nail on the head. You said there's never an end. There's never an end to suppliers, and new agencies, new RPOs, new companies pop up literally daily. Can't take calls of everyone. So you're leaning into referrals. You're leaning into what maybe what's worked before. But honestly, how frequently do you speak to cold outreach to companies?
Not often. It's all about timing, right? It's like with the candidate also. If they are not keen to move right now, no matter how crafty your message is, how many emojis or lack of emojis you're having there, it just doesn't.
It's not going to work.
Work out. Yeah. If it really stays out, then I would probably speak for the future, but I cannot even tell you from the top of my head what should it be, like what kind of approach should it be. It's like I'm goal oriented, of course, right? If there is no goal in the current moment, I would rather say, okay, I'm gonna maybe get back to me like first quarter next year. That's when we have say planning, and then it might be like worth it to chat.
I think it's quite interesting because I hear all the time from the internal side of the businesses that referrals, recommendations, that's the way in which it works. I mean, 90% of our business comes through that way. They don't always think about the people who are like just starting out in recruitment. How are they trying to break into these companies and things like that? It's always kind of, that's where my mind's going. But I think I like the fact that you're open-minded at least to have these conversations with people, and because you never know where things lead. But you mentioned obviously you want to foster this collaboration. So we're onboarding people as if they're inside the team. You mentioned obviously with the element of how did you phrase it? Business sensitive. That was the word I think you used, or kind of business. So how are we kind of doing that? Where you want to give your vendors everything as much as possible, but you are, you're obligated to support your in-house team, and you're obligated to support your business. So how do you as a leader keep that workflow working correctly, where your internal team don't feel like they're being, I guess, kind of pushed out a little bit? Your vendors feel that you're giving them ample information and support, but then you're also obligated to the business on the cost perspective. So there's all these like this trio of things you as a leader need to kind of think about. So I guess how do you kind of go about managing that?
It's actually utilizing the strong sides of the individual contributors, and knowing also their motivations. So say someone would like to become team lead in 1, 2, 3, 5 years from now. So that could be a good, kind of try out of first-hand management experience, not really to the full extent, but the person might start having, say, one-to-ones with an agency, with an RPO rather, member for different, actually, reasons. Onboarding, answering questions, also seeing how would I feel like stepping a bit up from individual contributor shoes to actually starting to making the first steps in this management direction, and to solving other people's actually issues, problems, questions. So a contributor could see already the way he or she reacts to that, right? And sometimes it's just not working out, and we are able to find it out really by low cost. Then rather than making a move and betting on the person to actually change the org chart and also make a company or like HR org wide announcement, and just to find out after 3 months that it's not what I have imagined. So it's kind of from that perspective, vendor's employee would be a kind of a guinea pig a bit, yes, but also there is some value in it for sure. Even if it's not working out to the full extent, in-house employee could share a lot of knowledges, and it still makes a good investment for both sides, I believe.
I'd say I really like that example. I've actually never thought of it like that, and now you've said it. Now I understand why some of my contacts are my contacts. Probably. I mean, it might not be that reasoning, but it does actually make sense. It's a really good way to lean someone into more people leadership without having to be leading people internally. As a leader, obviously, you've got your motivations from your internal team. The external vendors will have their motivations. And I mentioned to you before, I feel like sometimes there's this disconnect, right? And if you take especially the last few years, on the internal side, layoffs have been rife. Everyone's been severely impacted. And, from the external side, we're still there just trying to, work through, find out how we can support businesses and whatnot. But like I said, the disconnect can sometimes come with, well, they're here to take my job. And, then the external's like, well, we just want to make the placement. I actually don't agree with either statement, but there's statements I hear an awful lot. I think that's just far too broad stroke. How do you manage that as a leader? Like how are you ensuring to your team that, hey, they're here to help? And how do you say to your vendors, look, you need to support us in the right way, follow our process, because you're caught in the middle. But how are you managing that effectively?
Yeah, it's like precisely that. It's the position that exactly determines whether it's gluing all up or everything is falling apart, basically. Yeah. So how to address it? In my opinion, you should be as transparent as you can be. Really explaining the decisions. So this decision was made because this and that. For internal team, they need to understand basically where it's all coming from and why we are also taking external support. Also, to give you another example, in my previous company, I had a situation when RPO folks actually helped us with some projects as well, because it just happened so that they had needed expertise in the particular area, and they partnered up with core team members to deliver a certain project, like say in 3 months' time, on top of their operational recruitment, core recruitment duties. That required, of course, some explanation as well, some exploration and then explanation. So we found out that they have certain level of expertise that we could utilize. just by talking to them, by again inviting them to our meetings, project meetings, weeklies, and then we explain to them that all right, to actually succeed in this environment, it's super important for us that recruiter is not purely transactional, but also is able to advise on some aspect or like shape some process, help us with something, and they took it really. With a lot of enthusiasm, I have to say. It was something like different from what they have experienced before. I mean, it typically worked like that, right? You are coming, you are closing like X amount of positions you are leaving, and over here they really got to know how the organization works and actually even help to shape a small piece of it. So.
I think that is, if I'm honest, if I take a look at how recruitment has evolved and it is evolving, even external, single recruitment teams like us, RPOs, I feel like that blend is it's like it's vanishing a little bit. Where external recruiters used to be like very transactional, go in, make a hire, move on. I mean, most of the teams I support now are SMEs. I mean, they've always been SMEs. I'll be honest with you, but the vast majority are like really small at the moment. So I'm working directly with founders. Say, look, your hiring process sucks. Let's revamp it. Let's do this. Let's create a Notion account. Let's create this. Like you do all that side of things. You don't think about it because it's not the sell that we're doing. Our sell is we find you people. But then when you really think about it, like you are shaping it. I absolutely love when companies, like I said, in your position, embrace this because it's not. And this is actually, this comes full circle to the podcast, by the way. There's no one right way to do recruitment. There's no, external is the only way, RPO is the only way, internal is the only way. It's like there's this blend. And I fully agree that internal teams should be able to manage the vast majority of things without any involvement from anyone. But there's reasons where you might need to do it. And this is that. And you've kind of proven multiple times some really good examples where it works. My last question to you, Mykhailo, is there a standout example that you have where bringing on a vendor dramatically helps improve your internal team?
I'm not gonna call the names out, right? But
No. That's
also,
fine.
also gonna just go to the content of it. So basically, we had a kind of boomerang hire, as we called, but in sense of RPO, like re-onboarding particular RPO, I don't know, 3 times or so, with a little breaks.
Wow.
Why is that? Because, well, first, it really felt for all parties that they were integrated part of the team. They were able to do a really like heavy lifting in the sense of working on a big volume, which freed up capacity for the core team to work on those projects. Because there's always something, you should always clean the house so that everyone becomes more productive, actually, rather than caught up with admin stuff, say. And also, they were taken part in some of the projects. So we are talking about people with like 10 years of experience in recruitment or so. Of course, they have seen many clients, so they have seen how it works there, what worked out, what didn't work out. And we were able to utilize this experience and actually to say shape a referral program in a certain way so it would be more appealing, not necessarily only focusing on like money, on incentives, but just narratives, as well as other projects. So it's basically it came again from the trust, from the clarity, from understanding why you are here to achieve a certain goal. And yes, when it comes to end, we part ways for now, but there is a great chance that you're gonna be back when the hiring need increases. Say we are opening hiring in another country, we might as well go for your expertise there if you have it, right? Or just continuing basically what we were doing before, after like the natural decreasing of volume, we are totally able to kind of cover it by our in-house team. But if not, we know whom to call, and it's a like very privileged position to be in, actually, to understand that you do not have to research and talk to 20, 10 external companies. You just know exactly the quality you get.
I love that, and like I said, it's how recruitment, in my eyes, is moving forward. It's that mix in-house, hybrid, like flexible workforce. That's ultimately what we're creating now. But Mykhailo, I really appreciate you being transparent and candid about this. Like I said, it's a topic that I've wanted someone to talk to. I've been waiting for someone to bring this up, and we're 60 odd episodes in, and finally someone said, "Yeah, I want to talk about that." So I appreciate it, because it means that we've got different parts of our job, but we have a same shared mentality of how teams can be structured. If someone wanted to pick this up a little bit further with you, dig into your mindset a little bit more, learn a bit more about your team, where is the best place that they can find you?
LinkedIn would be the best place. I'm checking it almost daily, I would say, almost daily.
I feel like that's the only response everyone gives me. And one day someone's going to bring up a new tool, and all recruiters are going to move on to that new tool. We'll see. But thank you so much. I genuinely appreciate it. And hopefully our listeners, be it nice you're a leader, can draw something from this today and learn, a little bit more what structuring teams have worked for you, and how maybe they can do that for their own teams to help drive more of that influence in the process. But thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. The pleasure is mine.
Bye bye.